Are you kids ready to get extreme? You've played Rise of the Triad, or I've played Rise of the Triad, and you watched, or had it on in the background while you were doing something I can't mention within the first 30 seconds of a video without being demonetized. Back when DLC was called an expansion pack, and you bought it in a store for like 20 bucks. Although Extreme Rise of the Triad doesn't have anything new besides levels, which are all tiles arranged on a grid like this, so the file you need to play it is a whopping 277 kilobytes, which might have taken would have taken just over a minute on a 28.8K modem to download Extreme Rise of the Triad. However, it came on a CD full of goodies like a random level generator, and then in September of 2000, Extreme Rise of the Triad would be released for free on the 3D Realms website, though it's still considered to be somewhat obscure. The new levels were designed by Tom Hall and Joe Siegler, and if you are either Tom Hall or Joe Siegler, stop watching now. Are they gone? Okay, so Tom Hall and Joe Siegler created what I consider to be a virtual violation of the Geneva Convention with Extreme Rise of the Triad. And I understand there are flaws in the original game, I still love it. Here's the thing, Extreme Rot is one of the hardest goddamn things I've ever played for this channel. It is an escalating series of saw traps written onto a CD-ROM and released to the unsuspecting public. As an expansion, you'd think, oh, a new episode. Nope. It's 4 new episodes. It's actually more levels than were included in the original game unless you count the multiplayer-only levels, which themselves were a novelty back in the day. I want to refresh everyone's memory on Rise of the Triad. I did that video over a year ago. How time flies when you're trying to balance playing completely unheard of Slavjank and one of the 8,000 constant requests I get, but we already did Half-Life, kids, and then Redneck Rampage, so we're back to the weird shit. So you guys need to remember some of Rise of the Triad's basic mechanics and enemies. You have infinite bullets, you have a pistol, then 2 pistols, then an MP40, and after that, your 4th weapon slot can be used to swap out a variety of cool-ass missile weapons that kill things good. From your basic bazooka, the helpful heat seeker, your devastating drunk missile, fearsome flame wall, saintly split missile, the exemplary Excalibat, the dominating dark staff, and the undisputed king of carnage spelled with a K, the absurd, the ludicrous firebomb. Always take the firebomb. Aside from low guards, lightning guards that sometimes have a secret missile weapon, and bulletproof robots, there's a few enemies you're going to see a lot of in Extreme Rot. The monks, mostly the Deathfire monks that shoot nasty fireballs at you, the Ballistacraft, the robots you can't even kill, and our old friends, you know 'em, you hate 'em, the Triad Enforcers. You know how Plutonia uses Revenants? Extreme Rot uses Enforcers like that, except Revenants are easier to kill and don't have hit scan weapons. There's a story here too. Get this. El Oscuro, the thing that was the boss of the last game, as he's dying, he does a spell where he calls upon the dark powers at his disposal to reverse time, and so the Hunt finds themselves back on San Nicolas Island outside the monastery again. The villain gets a do-over. I'm using a new port this time around, Rot EXPR, which supports ultra-wide and only crashed on me one time during this entire playthrough. Hell yeah. A tomb with a view. The very first level doesn't even wait to throw the endgame enemies at you, and the level is surrounded by sky tiles so you could get an instant death by touching them. This will be a recurring theme throughout. Here's what most of this level is like. When the game starts with Havana Smooth, you know it's going to be a bad time. The monks were a mistake, and they're pretty much in every level, and they're usually the Deathfire kind. You're going to see me dying a lot, even in the first level, because about 99% of the maps in Extreme Rot are designed to kill you over and over and over. And the fun coin collecting and extra lives stuff, forget it. Extra lives are not nearly as common, not that it matters, there's a save system, but this is how many lives I had at the end of Rise of the Triad, and this is how many lives I had at the end of Extreme Rise of the Triad. And I must have died hundreds of times. If Rot is a Super Mario Bros. Game, Extreme Rot is like one of those Mario Maker levels designed to murder you. This level up comes very early in the expansion and makes me cry, so I can see why Pixar would name that movie after it. Dodging my own firebomb explosions can be a problem, but I ain't taking anything less powerful when every stage so far has started with Deathfire monks. Also, some enforcers with their back turned, a nightmarish maze of fire and gads, gravitational anomaly discs if you don't remember. Filled with machine gunners and enforcers, it's a rough time, and this is one of the easier maps. Enforcers tend to hit scan you when you get close enough and throw grenades when you're far away, so if you don't have a missile weapon to kill them quickly, keep as far away from them as possible because they don't get stun locked like all the other enemies. So in this map, you're dealing with them in tight corners. One thing you'll want to do is to line up enforcers or monks so that they'll try to shoot fireballs or grenades at you, but they'll hit their friend in front or take splash damage from their own attack. This is a vital tool for surviving Extreme Rot. This, I don't know what's going on here or why these... what? This level has a secret exit in it that only an absolute madman could have conceived. Right near the end, you're supposed to outrun these push walls so you can get to a hallway that leads to that exit. And I could see this on the map. I couldn't get to it because running along with moving walls slows you down because this is still weird jank based on the Wolfenstein 3D engine. What you're supposed to do is like run and strafe left and right in a certain way to gain speed so you can make it in. At first I didn't know and I quick saved after the walls had moved. And you're thinking, Civvy, why would you quick save right before exiting a level? Oh, you'll see. So I restarted the level with nothing, which is actually really shitty because I lost my MP40 and none of these guys were dropping one. Back to the secret exit. Okay, Katie, how many times did I die attempting this? I didn't know the strafing thing at first. I couldn't really guess that. I had to look it up. But what's beyond that one wall? That's right. We're doing rocket jumping over 2 ballista craft, one of which doesn't want to move out of the way of the exit door. That's fine. We're getting to the secret level. The barracks. One of the easier maps since it's not filled with enforcers or monks, but not one of those guards is dropping an MP40. I'm sure there's a secret I'm missing or something. Oh right, Civvy, why do you save your game right before exiting a level? Oh yeah, the floor is lava, and I've got a flight power-up. Unfortunately, the walls are also lava. It's about here where Extreme Rot gets really extreme, where you need to keep picking up asbestos armor because most of the rooms are as hospitable to humans as the surface of the sun. Nothing but net. It's a gimmick level, you see? Nothing but net? Aha! This is one of the easier levels, but it gets more monotonous than it needs to because I still haven't found another MP40 after losing the last one. Truth or Darien? General Darien, back from the grave, only slightly tougher because he's got enforcers all around him and pits of lava, and enforcers. They're worse than he is. High road, low road. Now this is interesting. The way Rise of the Triad maps are designed, you can have like hubs because each level exit can take you to a different map. So this level has 2 exits that will take you to a completely different set of levels for episode 2 depending on which path you take. Let's take the high road. Yeah. Let's take the low road. Open fire. 1 million low-tier enemies means I can actually get my MP40 back. This is hard, but it's just not extreme. What else you got? I'm sorry, what? Yeah, that's just boulders going upstairs. Why wouldn't they? If you absolutely need to add some extreme to your map, nothing like adding 1 million Deathfire monks on top of platforms where there's lava underneath. Ah yes, the hallmark of good game design, trial and error. You have 2 choices. One choice is death. This is a good way for me to introduce the Oscurovators. They're like elevators, but they teleport you, so they're like honest rot elevators. Crisscross is the boss level.
Eat lead.
Crisscross is the boss level where you get to fight 2 Chris at the same time. You only have to kill one of them for the level to end. It's not that hard, the bullshit platforming to get there is way worse. You still have to survive the other Chris as the first one is dying. Also, bring a missile weapon from the last level because they don't give you one in overview right away because they hate you. Surprise! It's all monks again! Until the end when it just throws a ballista craft and a god mode power up in front of the exit. However, behind one of these walls that burns is a secret exit. Full of monks, you've got god mode, nothing can touch you, but I'm getting real tired of the monks. It's all monks again! It's all monks again! Sky tunnels. There's a reason this is the one map that made it into my "Look how bullshit Extreme Rise of the Triad is" clip from a previous video. See, you gotta let the enforcers drop and then go all the way up, ride a platform, get a weapon to deal with all of them, and the key. The key is floating in the sky. It's doable, but you won't enjoy it. You know what? I think this is too extreme. Maybe you guys can do better. I thought about covering Extreme Rise of the Triad whenever 3D Realms released that new port that's going to be coming out, but I realized if I showed people this, it wouldn't be doing them any favors. Okay, what's next?
Eat lead.
So immediately Strafe left to get an asbestos armor in this level because killing the player almost instantly has gone from a novelty to the norm. You guys like platforming? And monks? Get out of this cursed level as soon as you can. You only need the silver key, which is guarded by ballista craft. 42 of them. That's more than appeared in the entirety of Rise of the Triad, all packed into one room. If you're quick, and you're lucky, you can get out of it. You can go through this obstacle course to get the iron key, which gives you a flame wall so you can deal with all these enforcers, so you can get the gold key, and I don't know, maybe you get the developer pulse in this level. I wouldn't know. I gave up after going in hard to get a secret that completely broke my spirit. To get there, you have to ride on this spinning blade trap, which is very hard to do, right, to land on it properly, and after a few million attempts, I was able to do it. And so that takes you into this room where you have to platform onto a spinning blade again, and again, and again, to get to this secret, which you'd think would be awfully rewarding for how much time and effort and death it takes to get to it. Nah, it's one extra life and a heat seeker. That's when I gave up on this one. Oh, the ride. Yeah, let me tell you, if you bought this in 1995, you got taken for a fucking ride. If you fall off this train, reload your save. If you miss the bulletproof armor, reload your save. If a monk or an enforcer gets in your path and you're not ahead of them, reload your save, because you're not finishing the level. And whatever this absolute chaos is, that I'm amazed didn't crash the engine for how much of a clusterfuck it is. Fuck you, game. Rise of the Triad had a dynamic lighting system before it was cool. So what if they set the light level to 0 and put enemies that can insta-kill you everywhere? And you can't see shit. The first area drops you into a long hallway with ballisticraft, and you have to run across it back and forth to hit 4 switches before it lets you out, with only the light of a few lamps and Scott's mystical head to guide you. If you're a fan of not knowing what's going on and dying, this is the level for you. Enemy mine. So you've gotten to the end of episode 3, and you have to fight our old pal, that nasty metal enforcer. At least they don't double him up like they did Christ, because that would probably be impossible. This one is interesting because it's not impossible, but it is damn close. In the original Rot, you got to fight the enemy in a giant arena with lots of cover. This one, much smaller, with much less cover, and I know what you're thinking, it can't shoot through those fences, right? There's no way it could shoot through those fences. It can. Forget those fences exist because you can walk right through them, and so can the enemy. They might as well not be there. All they do is obscure your view of it while you're trying to fight. I don't know why it's like this. It's one of those things I thought was a source port bug, and I had to go back into the DOS version to check. So not only is the enemy a brutal boss on its own, this arena isn't doing you any favors. It's surrounded by sky tiles, which are instant death when you touch them, so sometimes you'll survive getting hit with a missile only to get pushed into the sky and you die anyway. But with perseverance, you can kill him and run around dodging his still active projectiles until the game says he's dead and the level is over. On to episode 4. More like halls of fucking enforcers. Now, but like the platforming on single gads while walls are shifting around you, and if you come anywhere near them, they slow you down and fuck up your ability to platform. It's not fun. Thankfully, the secret exit is easy to find. It's not even behind a secret wall, see? There's 3 ballisticraft guarding it, but you can run right past them. But you shouldn't. Here's a fun thing. There isn't just one secret level in episode 4, there are 5, which you're locked into now by taking that one secret exit. Danger Mouth, maybe a pun on Danger Mouse? That seems like a weird thing nerds would probably make a pun out of in the 90s. This is probably one of the easier levels. Low tier enemies, plenty of missile weapon pickups, they make up for it. See, because you have to balance yourself and platform between fences. Oh, and enforcers. Can't forget the enforcers. Someone thought platforming over these walls here, the ones that are flat and from certain angles are invisible, that was fine. You guys see all these saves I have? I filled every slot because I had to save, and I had to back up saves in case it did something that would block progress forever, like a wall moved wrong or I angered Tom Hall on Twitter. I'm sorry, Tom. I'll never do it again, Tom. Please. I'm sorry, Tom. Please. Please. You'd think your main problem in a level called Welcome to the Machine would be robots, but you'd be wrong, because it's enforcers. For centuries, mankind has grappled with the question, how many monks is too many? This many. This many is too many. You get a God Mode power-up and you get to run through several armies of monks and enforcers. It's the easiest level because unless you're slow, I don't think you can die. A level based around using dog mode, where you have to remember that you can kind of jump by using the attack and use buttons for the dog, so you can get over these fences. And that's the end of the secret levels, but not the end of the pain. I'm glad that they put the worst level towards the end. Really gives me something to shoot for. This level requires you to first and foremost remember that you have a key that drops weapons. If you don't know that, you're not getting out of the second room of this level alive. See, a touch plate locks you into a room with, you guessed it, fucking enforcers! you won't have the ammo to kill all of them before they kill you, which is an interesting problem to have in a game where you have infinite bullets. Now, you have to drag all these weapons into this tiny room so you can resupply mid-fight. There's no hint to tell you to do this as far as I know. It's just something you have to know to do because you're given the option to drop your weapons, a thing you've probably never done in the game before. Not only do you have to drop your weapons, you have to do it in a very specific way and not fall over one of these ledges before getting all the weapons out there because you can't go back up there. I didn't figure this out fast enough, so say goodbye to that MP40 again. Under normal circumstances, this might be the worst part of the map, but these are extreme circumstances. A room full of fireballs and enforcers too, which you have to dodge, hit touch plates to proceed. Grab yourself an asbestos armor over here before getting to the last room.
Eat lead. Here, catch. You're toast. Eat lead. Here, catch. Eat lead. They'll bury you in a lunchbox. Here, catch. Here, catch. Eat lead. Eat lead. Here, catch. Eat lead. Eat lead. Here, catch. Eat lead. Eat toast. Eat lead. Here, catch.
Likely the most infamous part of Extreme Rise of the Triad, but not for the reason you'd think. There's like 25 enforcers here, and I gave up trying to kill all of them, and instead went for the strategy of avoidance after dying a couple dozen times. What you're supposed to do is get these pillars aligned and then run across them to get to the exit. Here's your problem. Only one of the 5 characters you can select at the beginning of the game is able to do that. So if you started the game as any character that isn't Ty Barrett, congratulations, you're fucked. It's possible to grab asbestos armor and rocket jump using the Excalibur to get where you need to go. You know, unless you get too close to these enforcers and they hit scan you to death. But you have to know, before getting locked in this room, that you have to grab the Excalibur, and you have to know that you don't kill all of the fucking enforcers with it. So now's when we break out the cheats, give ourselves flight power up, and run that clip of Tom Hall getting yelled at by Gordon Ramsay. Fucking awful. A boulder vision. It's got boulders and rotten evil traps sometimes, but it's a nice break from the last map. Doesn't hurt my soul to play it. This one's still pretty mean, especially this bit here with all the robots. Yeah. But it's mostly straightforward and keeps you stocked with missile weapons. You have to ride a gad to get out of it, and the path on the left is a death trap. The one on the right is not. It gives you a dog mode power-up to go 10 feet to the exit, so I don't know why. Another map that'll kill you in the first room if you're not quick enough and don't exploit the AI's inability to properly shoot you when you're above them and they're behind a pillar or something. When I was talking about saw traps earlier, I meant shit like this here. You have to grab the gold key, which is here, and you need to use this jump pad, go over the turret that's there behind the fences, get the key, avoid the moving wall of fiery death. What I mean is that every path you have available to you requires you to do something painful. There's another section where if you don't make the jump to another section with a jump pad, you're stuck. There's even what I'm going to call a suicide booth, which is marked with a "You do not belong here" tile. Yeah, that's about right. It's monks! It's all monks! The easiest part is dealing with El Oscuro, letting him do his thing until he tires himself out and turns into another snakehead trail before doing another chase. This time, it's just way harder because it can be, and you're basically doing trial and error, doing balls-hard platforming like this is an Apogee game made before 3D, before finally arriving at the final level, the Unholy Chamber. It's like the last time, where you have to destroy all of El Oscuro's larvae with a twist. it's way fucking harder, and you can accidentally block yourself off from the first batch of them by hitting one of these switches. So don't hit these switches until you've hit a touch plate that opens these walls. Then, well, it is a harder fight if you want to destroy all the eggs and get the good ending, because you have to lead Oscuro away from the door to the egg chamber. He'll follow you right in, and since you're going to have to go straight for the asbestos armor to, not die, that's where you're going to get stuck, getting wrecked by the snakeheads. Once you're able to lead him away from that door, it's not too bad. Destroy the eggs, get out, shoot him while he's over the lava pools. It's still pretty easy. El Oscuro is dead, but it looks like I missed one secret wall, but I'm sure that's not... Oh, fuck. I missed one. It's right here. Fuck this game. Okay, now that we're done with... Just like in the original Rise of the Triad, we got a few levels that are warp only, like 95 windows. A map with 95 windows that's like a pun on, it's not supposed to be a warp only level, but the secret exit for it is fucked up, so it's a warp only level. It's not even as evil as most of the maps, although the enforcer placement is still leagues away from being okay. I forgot about this one completely, then I had to go back and do a fresh recording of it. It was supposed to be in episode 2, but the secret exit there is bugged. It's short, it has no enforcers or monks, and only one ballista craft. So it feels like a regular rot level. Not bad. I didn't forget about technical ecstasy either, I just didn't have anything to say about it. A joke level with one guard. This is actually the easiest level. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. A bigger, badder version of the vomitorium. Except this one can be beaten, in theory. You're riding a single gad to get to the next area where it's sky tiles and invisible elastomode pickups that'll send you flying into sky tiles. Until you miraculously make it into the room, which fills with gas? I don't know, I do what the game tells me and I cheat now. Woundless with weapons on, fly mode on, Scott's mystical head collected, touch plate triggered. That's the only time this source port ever crashed on me, so I went and did it in the original DOS version to see what I missed. One room. I don't know why this crashed or what's going on. All I know is that Extreme Rise of the Triad is the ball-breaking Apogee platformer that Apogee never made. It's a lot of cool engine tricks surrounded by razor wire, and you shouldn't play it. No one should play it. I feel bad for even mentioning that it exists, because people are going to find it on Apogee's website and download it in 1 second. You don't think so? Because people went and played Redneck Rampage after the last video, and that game sucks.